Welcome to Metal Minutia. I'm Ray, here with Phil.
Hello.
Here to talk to you about heavy metal in far too much detail. How you doing, Phil? What have you been listening to?
I'm going to come straight out of the gate with, which is what is coming to be my trademark move, a Dying Victims album. Oh. Surprise, surprise.
Surprise, surprise.
Yeah, just one I've been listening to lately, which actually come out, it's probably a couple of years ago now. Yes, 2024. The group is called Hexenbrett, and the album is called, no, I'm not even going to say the title of the album because it's in German and I don't want to embarrass myself. And
understandable.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah.
Cool. Thank you.
Their festival was on this week, last week?
Oh, yeah.
They were around.
It's either very, very soon or it's happening right now as we speak.
Yeah. Well,
yeah.
I assume it was a good time.
I reckon so too.
A lot of your favourite bands would be there.
Indeed.
Well, a lot of commonly listened to bands.
Yeah, absolutely. I would love to get there someday. That's another story. But yeah, this album is just a great listen. I can't bring myself to not listen to it at the moment. I'm having such a great time with it. I remember when it came out, I listened to it and I thought, and it just kind of went past me. But then I revisited it for some random reason a couple of months ago, and it's not leaving the CD player. It's a mix of, so they're a duo, and they are. There's very little information on their on their origins or their identities, and even though they sing all in German, there's like a rumor that they are English speaking but only sing in German. No one knows their country of origin, etc., etc. Okay. It's really cool. I like that. I like a bit of It's not a. There's a bit of mystique. It's not a straight ahead Metal Archives visit and then I know everything. It's making me work for it, which is
you should
good.
Learn German so you can work out like if it's just really appalling German and you'd be like, oh, these guys obviously aren't native speakers.
Yeah. It's probably, if that is the case, it's probably painfully obvious to native Germans. They're like, what the?
They've just Google translated.
But anyways, that's not for me to know right now, and it kind of makes it a bit cooler, to be honest. Just not knowing precisely the origins is nothing like a bit of mystique. And they've got an album out and a couple of EPs out already. And it's actually, I want to say about the genre. It's like, have you heard this?
No.
Okay. Damn. I was hoping you'd help me describe this. It's kind of it's a bit of black metal, black and thrash kind of thing, and then art rock, avant something. I don't know. Like there's some horns happen somewhere.
Obviously, yeah.
Naturally. But above all, it just rocks. Like it's just the riffs. They get you standing up, and there's mood. Like that's the black metal coming in as well. There's mood and atmosphere, and of course, as the lyrics are in German, I don't know what they're saying. It's a whole different attitude.
Yeah.
It's a whole different attitude when you can't understand precisely what's going on and come across just in the barking
vibes.
and the howling and the vibes.
It's one thing with like Moon Sorrow. No idea what they sing about, but it doesn't matter.
No, you feel what's going on.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So that's a cool one. And then, just been revisiting the Riot album, Immortal Soul, from 2011, which was the last album with the founding member and captain of the ship, Mark Reale, I'm not sure how to say that name. But, that was his final album before he sadly passed away a few years after that. Or maybe that year, actually, maybe 2011. Rest in peace, Mark Reale. But killer album, Immortal Soul. It's like kind of I don't know if you're all over Riot, but they kind of started out as classic rock, then got a bit more heavy metal in the mid '80s, and then by the end of the '80s, it was like a full-on power metal assault on Thunder Steel and the Privilege of Power.
They got Frank Gilchrist was drumming for them at one point, I believe.
Really?
The one-time Virgin Steel drummer.
Right.
I could be wrong about it. It could be because Riot V and Riot are the same band, or no?
They are. Yeah. I mean, they share a couple of members.
Okay.
Yeah, that was the continuation of this, but they've called it Riot V, Riot 5, whatever. It's just that little bit of separation, that
it's not like the Venom AD where they're both pretending they're Venom.
It is not the case. It is not the case. Any relation between Nat Gilchrist and the Australian cricket legend Adam Gilchrist?
I don't believe so.
Look, I'm just thrilled that I was the first one to bring up cricket in this episode. So, cop that.
Yeah, no, I will.
Anyways, Immortal Soul, I just want to say about it that it is like, it's kind of like the best mid-2000s Judas Priest album that isn't Judas Priest.
Okay, yeah.
The vocals are just Halford-esque and unbelievable. And you'd know, of course, if you're a fan of the band, you're a fan of the pedigree, you know that they're absolutely killer players. But yeah, just the songs on this are absolutely outrageous, and it's a fitting swan song for Mark, I think. And yeah, and it took them 30 years to have a song called Riot.
That's admirable restraint.
Yeah, good call. Yeah.
The band we're going to talk about a lot today did not
famous lack of restraint.
much less.
Yeah.
Speaking of people's last, I guess I've been listening to Bad Magic, the last Motorhead album.
That was called Bad Magic.
I'm pretty sure it was
Wow.
called that. Well, yeah.
Jeez, I wouldn't have even guessed that. Yeah.
2015.
Yeah.
24, whatever it was.
Yeah. Sounds about right. I think it would have been 2014, 2015.
But yeah, it was only a
Bad
few months
Magic.
before Lemmy passed.
Yeah.
But with the recent passing of Phil Campbell, I went back and listened to that one a few times. Good time. You know. I mean, it's like, you know what you're getting with a Motorhead album, and you get it in
For sure,
spades.
man. Motorhead's like pizza. Like, even when it's bad, it's still pretty good. And it's, you can't fuck up a pizza kind of thing, you know? It's just like,
Yep.
put on some Motorhead, yeah.
Yeah. The one before that, The World Is Ours, or whatever it is.
think
World
it's
Is
The World
Yours.
Is Yours.
Yeah, that's quite generous of them. I remember when I had that in my car for probably 8 months on repeat.
Yeah, just one of those. Yeah. I love those albums that when you put them on and you're not so precious about it that you can just let it play and forget about it, and then you just keep smashing it. It's like those are like good friend albums. They're a good friend. They're always around and you can put them on, but you don't owe them anything. You know, it's like, I don't owe you my attention right now. Whatever. It's cool. That's cool.
Always a good time.
Yeah.
And the other one I've been listening to a little bit, Malignant had their new album out.
Of course.
Which, I've got it over there, but it's too far away for me to see them.
I'm not walking over there.
I'll put it in the show notes, the name of the new album, but I'm sure you can work it out. But yeah, they're on their album launch tour at the moment, played in Melbourne Saturday night, and good times.
Excellent.
Very,
At the Bendigo Hotel?
Yeah, it was at the Bendy. I think they've still got Brisbane, Sydney, and maybe one other. Maybe it's just Brisbane and Sydney to go. Big dramatic death doom and intense and
that's the
heavy.
word for it. Dramatic. Yeah, that's awesome. Good sound at the Bendy on Saturday.
Yeah, it was great.
Were you happy?
Yeah. They had the gong up on stage as well, which is
yes.
Yep.
And that's a commitment. Was it on stage the whole time? Or?
Yeah.
Wow,
They've got a stand for it.
Yeah. Okay. Good.
Yep.
Yeah. That's awesome.
Yeah.
I was just wondering if it was a
handheld situation.
No. I was thinking I was imagining like a dramatic mid-show.
Like
entrance.
reveal.
It's like that. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, like they wheel the gong on, and it's like, what's going to happen here? They're going to hit that gong, or are we just going to? Yeah.
No, it's how they start the set, so it's
right.
Big gong to
to
let you know something's happening.
to announce.
Yeah.
Was the how well mic'd was the gong?
I don't think it was mic'd.
Cool.
I think they rely on Tim, the singer. He's a large individual. He's got some strength behind him.
Awesome.
So I think he just wallops it with vigor.
Awesome. Yeah. There you go. Relying on the ambient sound of the room for the gong. No mic required. That's sick.
Just big gong, brute strength.
Yeah. Like they used to do,
Yeah.
When men were men.
Well, it's like that Pink Floyd
Gongs were gongs.
Pompeii.
Yeah. Roger Waters in the sunset.
Yeah. All right. Today's topic. Sadly, this week, last week, and Ross the Boss passed away after a relatively short battle with ASL.
ALS?
Sorry.
Yeah, only diagnosed in February, I think.
Right.
Which is very recent.
Yeah. Sorry, well, he was here in May.
May last year. Yeah, very sad. Heavy metal legend Ross the Boss Friedman, as I found out very recently, his real name is Ross Funicello. So,
oh right,
as
changed it to Friedman.
Yeah, changed it to Friedman. Yeah, and then to the boss.
Well, yeah.
How good. Yeah, but very indicative of his native Bronx, New York, where he was born and lived most of his life. So a bit of a tribute.
Yes.
A bit of a tribute. We are about to unleash a fitting tribute.
We're going to talk about the 6 Manowar albums he appeared on. He would be in the band forming the band in 1980 with Joey DeMaio and continuing on until 1988 with Kings of Metal when he would depart in what he would later describe as one of the worst mistakes ever made.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
That's definitive language.
Yeah. He's I mean, it's sort of fitting with Manowar and like a lot of what he says is, and anecdotes I've heard of him, it's just very like, this is the best. This is the worst. Very
absolute.
Yeah. And a lot of conviction in what he thinks and says and does.
2 words that you're going to hear a lot in this episode: absolute and conviction, and steel.
Yes. He would, of course, the band would continue on, and it gets real messy with Manowar after. I mean, there's the revolving door of members, particularly in more recent years. The re-recordings of old albums for
God,
who knows why. Carl Logan, one of the guitarists that replaced him, obviously getting convicted of some quite heinous crimes and is in prison.
Yeah. Outrageous, and not still to this day not addressed by the band, which is a bit...
Yeah, speaking of...
horrible.
Weirdly lacking conviction at times.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, there's the word absolute, but in the wrong direction.
Yeah. I think at the time they just said, he won't be playing with us while he sorts out his legal issues.
God. Which makes my skin crawl.
Yeah, it's disgusting. Fuck. Even their statement about Ross dying was just very...
Okay.
Yeah. Blasé, I guess.
Yeah. Far out, man.
Yeah. Actually, another thing I saw in an interview that he'd done recently. Well, I saw it recently. I think someone was asking about whether he would ever play in Manowar again, and he said something like, it would have to make sense financially for me, and Joey's a scumbag, so it'll never happen. I guess me calling him a scumbag doesn't help. Something like that.
I liked how he said the most reasonable thing first, and you're on board with him. You're like, okay, he's going to talk about the logistics, and plus, Joey's a scumbag.
Yeah. But he did make an appearance, I think it was like 2008 or something like that, at one of the Magic Circle Festival type things. I've got the DVD kicking around, where they played Battle Hymn with the guitar, like all the members of the band that had been into it up until that point. So there's 3 drummers, 3 guitarists.
Wow.
And it gets to the solo section, and then like the 2 drummers and guitarists that aren't playing that solo drop out.
Yeah. Then
Ross the Boss and Donny Hamzig start.
Yep.
Then Scott Columbus and Carl do David Schenkel and Rhino pick it up.
Man, you're doing well with the names here. Carry on.
And then Scott Columbus, who also he died about it was the 4th of April, I think, or 5th of April, 15 years ago. He died.
Wow, yeah.
Anyway, and then they play the solo. They pick it up with the solo, and then it goes into the giant last chorus.
Yeah.
Which is just
quickly on this Magic Circle thing. Are they wandering on and off stage, or are they all on stage at the one time?
All on stage at once.
Wow.
And there's about 600 motorcycles. And they have to navigate their way through them.
Oh man, that's funny.
Yep. I think there's choirs in the side of stage as well. I don't know. There's a lot of things happening.
Far out, man. That's yeah. Okay, so as recently as that's not recently at all. That's 20 years ago. So 20 years ago, he was still on good enough terms with the band that he performed on stage with them. Then obviously since then, lots of re-recordings have happened, and
would have been
Ross didn't get a phone call.
So I think the re-recording of Battle Hymns was maybe 2010, 2011.
Yeah, sounds about right. Warden, and in case if you're a listener of this podcast, and you probably know Ray and I, and you probably know how we feel about re-recordings. So I'm not going to go on my usual rant.
Not yet.
Not yet, anyways. Yeah, let me warm up to it.
All right. So Manowar, they form in 1980 when Joey is working on. He's doing pyro for Black Sabbath in the Heaven and Hell tour. And Ross the Boss's band, Shaken Street, are the support. Yeah. Apparently, Joey didn't like the band. Yeah. But liked Ross's attitude to playing. Okay. Yeah. So it's like, you're good. Your band sucks. Yeah. Let's start on. And allegedly, Dio suggested that they start a band.
Wow. Man, that is a heavy metal story.
Yeah. It's like it's one of those things that. Surely it's not true, but like when you're writing myths and you're like, and then Zeus came.
Yeah, totally. That's what I was waiting for. I was waiting for one of the classic gods to deign this event. Man, I don't care if that story is not true. That's so good. Well,
it's believable though, because
it's within the realms of possibility, unlike the Zeus thing. But carry on.
Because you got because the Rods their drummer was in Manowar.
Yeah. That late 70s, early 80s New York heavy metal scene was, if they weren't, they shared producers, they shared rehearsal spaces, and as we all know, it's a small world in these things anyways, right? So they were crossing paths, and you can... I think the drummer from the Rods played on one of the Manowar demos.
And the singer was Dio's cousin.
Yes.
So it's
Yeah. When we saw the Rods, we were talking about this. Last year or the year before. Yeah. What's that guy's name? David Feinstein. Yeah. So he's cousin of Ronnie James Dio. So that scene is. Yeah. So this is all believable. Right?
It's believable, and like Heaven and Hell. It was that tour, so Dio was there
for sure.
It's all
so all the mechanical things we can fact check.
Yeah.
But what a great heavy metal story! Where'd you start your band? Wow, I was working for Black Sabbath. Yeah, man.
And then Dio suggested.
Dio suggested, "Unto thee, we shall create."
And then Louis Marullo. Joey's high school friend would join the band on vocals. Oh. He would, under Ross's guidance, change his name to Eric Adams, which is Eric and Adam are the name of his two sons. Yeah. So he was very inventive when coming up with his stage name.
Well, at least they're real names, I guess. It wasn't just pick two things you like and stick them together. Chocolate pasta.
Steel Warrior. And Donnie Hanzig was a session drummer. Yeah. Did the recording and some touring, but would only stay on for Battle Hymns, which would come out in 1982. Yeah. Also, actually, on this, Joey allegedly... I'm using the word allegedly, I think.
Well, there's a lot of myth here, man. You know, a lot of...
Apparently, Eric... I'll refer to him as Eric going forward.
Yeah, that's fine.
Otherwise, I get confused. Eric didn't want to do screams because he was worried about damaging his voice. Wow. Yeah. So Joey apparently basically said there's not going to be much of a heavy metal career for you if you don't scream, which I think, it's probably true, but trained him on the proper technique.
Okay.
I don't know how he knew.
God, I love this. Oh man, who's telling that story? Joey's telling that story, right?
I think that's a theme that runs throughout.
Yeah, we'll find out. We'll find that to be
A lot of this is definitely from one man's perspective.
Yeah. This is how you remember it. Is that how you remember it, Joey? Yeah, that's how it went. Oh man.
But Battle Hymns, the first album, what are your thoughts on this? Apparently, in the recording process, they were so loud, the Bee Gees, two studios down, had their recording sessions interrupted.
again, I don't care if these stories aren't true. They're just, that's so good. Like, that's such a great story. It's like, yeah, man, we're too hardcore for the Bee Gees, that pop rock AOR stuff, man. We're making true heavy metal history, man.
Yeah.
It's so good. It's such a New York attitude, man. I just love it. My instant reaction to Battle Hymns is just, I just love it. It's not a perfect album. There are definitely some songs that are like feel a bit undercooked, and there's, dare I say, there's like a handful of generic riffs in there that are just like, well, that's just a rock riff that's not it's not as wild and untamed and inventive as they'll be in like 2 or 3 years.
Yep.
But my gut is like, I love this album. It's got some of my all-time favorite Manowar songs on there. Obviously, the quasi-title track Battle Hymn, and I really love Dark Avenger, and I really love the song Metal Days. Features some of the goofiest lyrics of all time, but again, that'll be a recurring theme.
That'll get surpassed pretty quickly.
Yeah, this is small fry. Yeah. But when I was on the way over here, that was the song that I put on, to get me just back in the headspace for it. I remember as a teenager hearing Manowar for the first time, and the first album I heard was Kings of Metal, and I did not connect with it at all. I was in a Kiss, Megadeth, like that's what I was listening to at the time. When I heard Manowar, I was like, I don't know if this is a joke or if this is I didn't understand the concept of irony, first of all. So whether I could decide whether it was ironic or not it wasn't even in my
it wasn't on the table.
It wasn't on the table. Yeah. So it took a while for me to come back around to Manowar, and when I did, my mate Nico said, "Don't listen to Kings of Metal. Listen to Battle Hymns." And Metal Days was a song where I was like, "Whoa, yeah." This is what I'm talking about. This is what I'm talking about. Yeah, this is So that's my reaction to Battle Hymns. Tell me what's happening on your side.
I like it, but so Into Glory Ride was the first album that I got into that I owned of Manowar. My Battle Hymn, the song, is one of the best heavy metal songs ever.
Unquestionable.
And I feel like the first half of the album is so not that.
Yeah.
It's like, and this is a theme that kind of happens throughout a lot of these albums. It's like Death Tone, like Fast Taker is just like a pure, like, it's quite a quick rock song. Yeah, Shell Shock and Death Tone, quite unusual for, because they're both like about a Vietnam veteran. One of them, Death Tone, that lyric about I went to the big house and you just got a job. I'm not sure what to take from that.
Like what? Again, the irony, storytelling, subtlety, I don't know.
Yep. What year did Rambo come out?
Well, First Blood was 1980, I think. Okay. No, 81.
All right. So I feel like that could be why we're getting, I think, I wouldn't be surprised if they're taking some inspiration from that with... Yeah. Just purely ripping off the plot of First Blood for some for some character building. Is that what you're... Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if that's... Because they'll definitely go on to harvest Conan the Barbarian and other things of that ilk. But like, is there anything else that brings you great joy on this album apart from Battle Hymn? Like, or are you just... It's just that like Battle Hymn brings me so much joy that the other songs are a little bit less so. Yeah, Metal Days I think's good, but except for another theme that it introduces, the first of many DJ related songs. Yeah, having a crack at a DJ is like... It's bread and butter for 1980s Manowar. And it's like it's sort of like a rock and roll first half of the album and a bit more of a heavy metal second half, I would say. Yeah, that's very fair. But Manowar, the song, I quite like as well. The weird double chorus at the end, how they like, it almost sounds like they've just edited it on. It doesn't. Yeah. Like if you listen to it, it doesn't flow. Yeah. It's pretty awkwardly structured. Yeah. Which, again, won't be the only time we see that sort of thing. No. Dark Avenger, that song, they
played that actually last year in May when we saw them at the Croxton. And
Ross the Boss.
Sorry, yes, of course. Well, yeah, of course. When Ross the Boss came with his solo band, yeah, they played Dark Avenger, and that was a real high point for me. Seeing that song live, that was totally killer.
I don't want to make this sound like I'm just bagging up Manowar for the entirety of this, but the other thing that happens in this album, which will continue and I won't like, William's Tale.
Oh yeah, bass solos. Not cool, man.
No. And the quote for this, what Joey told Sound Magazine in 1982,
yes,
he wanted to tell the world that I am the fastest bass player in the world.
Noble.
Yeah. The only way to do that was 1 minute 30.
Oh man, that's killing me.
Yeah.
That's killing me. Oh,
yeah.
man.
So, but that would just be the first of many indulgences that Joey undertakes.
Yeah. Well, we can take while on that topic of you just saying like we're not going to spend the whole time bagging out Manowar here. Is we can take a second to say that the first 6 albums, Ross the Boss has quite a few co-writes on there.
Yeah, the first album is all but Metal Days. He co-writes the whole thing.
Cool. So there you go. And I think they get a little bit less with each following album. Right?
Yes.
So if we're to look at the stats, we're seeing Ross has a little bit less involvement. He's getting overtaken by certain other Joey DeMeos that I won't mention. Yeah, because like all this early stuff was collaboration. He obviously had either an influence or a direct influence by actually writing or co-writing the songs. And the Ross the Boss era of Manowar is a lot of the greatest heavy metal of all the times, and we take that very seriously.
Yeah, absolutely.
Very seriously. So that's why we're here today, paying tribute to the Ross the Boss era.
But that last chorus in Battle Hymns.
Yeah.
Battle Hymn, the song.
Yeah.
When Eric's voice is just, he goes up the register, he goes up through the gears, as you might say, and just, that's...
Sound the charge. Yeah.
That's like 5 minutes of build up for that moment, and it pays off.
It absolutely pays off. Yeah. We spoke about that song in our episode about epics.
Yep.
And it stands the test of time as one of the all-timers. What a joy to have seen that performed live a couple of times as well.
Yeah.
And also a great song to throw on at the right time of the night when you've got a gathering with friends and the beers and there's an electricity in the air and you're like, I think it might be time for Battle Hymn, Might be time for Battle Hymn.
Yeah.
A truly great moment at any metalhead gathering.
And we can't ignore the Orson Welles narration.
No, nor should we. Dark Avenger.
Avenger. The fact that happens is pretty wild.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, because you can imagine the conversation in the studio. It's like, we need an Orson Welles kind of voice. And someone saying like, oh, we could probably just call Orson Welles. What?
How?
How do you call Orson Welles, just awesome, man. And it would happen again somewhere down the line.
Yeah, for Defender.
Yes, excellent. Does it say it on your cover that with narration by Orson Welles on the?
Yes, it does.
Okay, good.
In very small red font.
Okay, good. So it's known. It's well known even before you hear it. When you're going to find out, obviously.
Yeah.
But that's cool. Should we mention the cover art before we move on?
We should, yeah.
Because the Battle Hymn, that cover art with the stone eagle, that's impressive enough, but I kind of wish the back cover was the front cover of this album sometimes.
Just a sword and a bicep.
Just flat out. That's in your face, man.
Yeah.
Because if you didn't know what you were in for from looking at that front cover, when you look at the back cover, it's,
yeah, I see.
I see what you're going for.
But they get dropped from their record label after that. I believe they're on, looks like an EMI or Liberty. I don't know. It's hard to this is an old copy, but
yeah,
also
I think they were distributed through EMI and
but a semi, like it seems like if they can get Orson Welles, they must have had some sort of budget behind them.
Yeah, true.
At that point, but they get dropped, and for the second album, which will come out in '83, like not a year later, they're on Music for Nations. The budget is a lot less. I've got the digipack version here, which has some incredibly amusing anecdotes in the liner notes. So it's for another day, perhaps. But they talk about having just a very small budget of maybe $6,000 or something like that.
Yeah.
Scott Columbus joins the band on drums. I think the album cover here still kind of tells you what's going to happen.
Yeah, absolutely.
But perhaps the plastic swords give an indication that it's not a high paying deal.
Not a high production effort. But the loincloth,
Yeah, the furs, the furry boots that Eric Adams has got, and he's yeah. It's a little bit of like mixed messaging going on between Joey and Eric, but because Joey doesn't wear jeans. He's not a big pants guy.
Nah, never was. Never was.
But this album, I would say probably my favorite of these 6 that we're going to talk about.
Yeah, no kidding.
The very start of it annoys me. The little
the scene,
the play they enact or whatever it is. So there's just some audio of parents coming home and it's just it gets quite creepy, really.
It is creepy. It's like, creepy. It's lame and it's creepy.
Yeah, like screaming that she's implying that one of the band members is with.
It's like lock up your daughter's Manowar's in town kind of thing, and it's just fucking lame. Yeah,
yeah, and these guys are in their like late 20s.
Yeah,
at this time, and the mother in the scene says, she's only 16. Yeah, so it's all a bit
just creepy, man. You know, and so unnecessary.
Yeah, like, it does not lend anything to the what would come.
Yeah, it's like, guys, the music's heavy enough. It's powerful enough.
Yeah.
What are you trying to grandstand here? What's
Anyways, so I usually actually skip Warlord just so I don't have to listen to that 30 seconds.
Fair enough.
But I think that's probably the weaker song on there, Warlord.
Yeah.
The sort of the bit of a hard, fast rocker, but after that, they're all pretty mid-paced and quite epic type songs, which I like describing it as Bathory-ish for something that was in 1983 doesn't really make sense.
Yeah. But it helps me.
Yeah.
Oh, it does. It does, because I know exactly what you're saying, and it does paint a picture.
That like One Road to Asabay type Bathory. But The Secret of Steel, who they played that one. Ross the Boss played that one as well. That was very cool.
Yes.
Gloves of Metal, which has just have you seen the film clip for that?
I still have not. I've never gone out of my way to watch it.
Yeah, fair enough.
Yeah. That's my homework?
It's up to you.
That's not encouraging at all.
Yeah. It's like, they kind of get around on horseback and rescue some scantily clad women from a situation. Yeah. And then...
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah.
Thanks, guys.
Yeah. Joey shoots arrows at them.
Yeah.
At the bad guys.
Yeah.
And then they play, then eventually they're on stage.
Right.
So
sounds like a pretty normal day.
Yeah. It's the only confusing thing is the technology gap.
Yeah. Yeah.
But it's that kind of low budget, but it is what it is. Pretty good song though, Gloves of Metal.
Yeah, it's killer.
Gates of Valhalla, Hatred. Actually, one anecdote I will just
please
take from this. So apparently, when they're recording, Joey DeMeo was like, for some reason, going through the office of the engineer that was recording.
Okay.
Who apparently told them they were getting a great deal. Like he was He was doing him a solid.
Interesting.
And he found another band's bill, and it was like half what they were paying.
Right.
So he goes to Eric just before Eric's about to record the vocals for Hatred. And he's like, this guy's fucking us over.
Yeah.
You've got to go in there. We're all going to stand behind him in the studio, in the control booth, and you just look into his eyes and, you know,
spew forth the venom that became the...
And it's like Eric says, I recorded the vocals in one take.
And destroyed the microphone and blew out the speakers.
It's like Joey just held on to this bit of information for a few days. And so, don't want to tell him too early. Hatred's not the...
Well, good thing it had that effect instead of like... Eric being like, oh, geez, what a bummer. That's really put me in a bit of a downer, you know? I don't really feel like singing now, you know? Why would you tell me now? I'm about to, you know...
I was in a good mood.
I was in a good mood this morning, you know?
Yep. Yeah, Revelations, March for Revenge. March for Revenge, I think, is a bit like a, you know, battle hymn, Act 2. Like a second bite of the cherry. Not quite as good, but...
I must confess that this is the Into Glory Ride is the least listened to of the 6 for me, and I don't know why. Certainly don't dislike it, but I just don't connect with it as much as I do with the others, and I'm wondering / hoping that will change in the because we change, our tastes change obviously, and
it is more homogenous in like there's no real. Other than Warlord, there's not a lot of fast stuff. It's in that sort of chuggy realm, and I guess it gets a bit samey.
That has been my reaction to it. Yeah,
it was also being the first one that I had. You know, obviously, actually, a friend of mine had lent me another or Louder Than Hell, I think, and then I bought Into Glory Ride as the first album.
So Louder Than Hell being one of the '90s ones, which is beyond our scope, but again. Giving you kind of a what do you call it? A misleading, perhaps, a misleading impression of what the early Manowar, 80s Manowar is about.
But I really appreciate the epicness of Into Glory Ride and the complete lack of 1.5 minute bass solo tracks.
You know what? You're absolutely right, man. Like, for that reason... It's special. Yeah.
It only has 30 seconds that annoys me.
Yeah.
Easily skippable.
Yeah. So would this be the only 80s one without a bass solo? I mean...
I'm pretty sure.
I think it is.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, because Kings of Metal has the Sting of the Bumblebee. So So this is the only one without a bass solo. And for that reason, it is now my favorite. It is now my favorite Manowar album.
So then we got a Defender EP that came out. I think they had tried to fit, or they had wanted Defender to be on Into Glory Ride, but...
interesting.
Whether they ran out of time in their allotted recording budget or ran out of space on the vinyl.
I think it might even be that, because this runs pretty long, actually. I think it's well and truly like...
Yeah, it's sort of 45 minutes.
Upwards of 45 minutes, which is really long for an LP, for a vinyl. So that might be the case.
I should also note that this is when they switched to Music for Nations, this is when they signed their record deal in blood.
Oh, man. Like, yes.
Yeah. I think they had to do it with a pen as well.
Yeah.
Just made a mess, really.
We'll get a bloody contract. One you can spill all the blood on you like, and we'll have another one just with biro.
Yeah, one that will be the real one.
Will be the real one. That's so awesome.
You're gonna have your novelty check. But yeah, we get on to Hail to England in '84. The first of 2 albums to come out in '84.
Outrageous.
Yeah, which does have Defender on it.
No? The re-recording of Defenders on Fighting the World.
Sorry, yep, you're ahead of me. Blood of My Enemies, that's a ripping opening bit to an album.
Yeah, sure is, man. One of a great opener and a real statement of intent, like a lot of their openers are. This album is probably, on most days, this and Sign of the Hammer, I'm tossing up between those as my favourites. So I've got a lot of positive things to say about Hail to England. I think it's a masterpiece. It's a masterclass and a masterpiece. Yeah, Each Dawn I Die, Kill with Power. I'm just naming all the titles now. We can go back to them. Hail to England, Army of the Immortals, Black Arrows, a negligible bass solo, but I mention it for completist purposes. And of course, Bridge of Death.
In my notes, I've got Black Arrows. Come on.
With a little bit of spoken word at the start, which I'm not going to repeat here. Yeah.
Army of Immortals starts off another trend where they just list things that they've released previously as lyrics.
Yeah.
Which I think is a mark of it's a point in time where you can say that Joey, the well is getting dry for his lyrical inspiration.
Yeah, man. I think that is a genuinely that's an excellent observation, and I totally agree, because once you start, if say there were only one or two songs in the Manowar canon that did that, right, you can be like, oh, that's what you like to do, you're celebrating it, cool, right? But it started the trend, like you say, of it happening on every album several times, and it's like, man, this is not.
Yeah.
It becomes gibberish at a certain point. It's just like those are just song titles stuck together. That makes no sense.
And also, it's the third album. They don't have that many.
No. Having said that, Army of the Immortals is fucking amazing. That song is absolutely amazing, and I love at the end when Eric's voice where he goes, "Metal makes us strong. It makes us metal, makes us strong. It makes us stronger, stronger." And he repeats the word stronger. And he goes up a tone each time, and he goes so high that I believe that the recording studio exploded. And it rained blood.
Yeah.
And but yeah, it is an excellent moment.
There's so much that happens in Manowar that if Eric Adams wasn't singing, it would be really hard to get on board with.
Yeah, that is a great call, man. An important thing to mention.
It makes the idea that he was needed to be coached on how to sing by Joey, just like
and purposefully placed into bad moods before recording important songs. Hey, buddy, we're out of coffee. We're out of coffee.
They've got so this album covers a bit more triumphant. It's interesting that Hail to England with he's the Union Jack flag he's holding. And he's like a barbarian-looking dude. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's hard to know what year this is meant to be.
Yeah.
Because that flag wouldn't have existed until...
So like this barbarian-looking type, possibly Norse character. Yeah. I see what you're saying.
But that's okay.
That's all right.
Not everything...
We're not fact-checking all the...
No.
Maybe we could, but it'd be a different podcast.
This one on the back also has, this one's for Dork, 11 years of loyal friendship, says it all. Dork being their instrument designer.
Wow.
Yep. He's
and he'd already been working for them for 11 years? Didn't the band only exist for 3 years at that point? No, wait. Friendship, loyal friendship. Yeah. Not...
But he was there at the start. He was involved.
Yeah.
There's one thing in here where he's described as a philosopher as well. Technical engineer and philosopher.
Wow.
He gives a quote on the re-release of Into Glory Ride.
Very good.
Yeah. I'm not sure what his philosophy is, but I look forward to...
I bet it's got something to do with black wind, fire and steel.
Yeah. I'd imagine so.
So yeah, this might be a good time to mention Ross the Boss's awesome skills at doing sweet, outrageous guitar solos. Yeah. Because a bunch of those happen on this album. And for my money, the contribution... Look, Manowar as a group, right, is the power of Manowar is Joey's bass tone, Eric Adams screaming, and Ross the Boss's untamed guitar playing, right? They've had 2,000 drummers who have done varying degrees of great jobs, right? But truly the power of Manowar is those three elements. Would you probably agree with that, right?
Because you got a lot of... Like, almost every song is going to be verse, chorus, solo, chorus, or bridge, solo, chorus, something like that. Very standard structures for songs. Yeah. And I think without the solos, they would get very repetitive very quickly. Yeah. And I think that's probably, in later albums, it shows through a bit more because of, perhaps less creative guitarists.
Yeah. Yeah, I totally agree. And I think it goes in line with what you were saying before about Eric Adams as a vocalist. If you took away that element, we'll never know with Eric Adams, right? But Ross the Boss's element was removed after these albums, and then we saw what happened, like a change of direction happened, and songs seemed to go on and on, on and on forever. And
still only 4 minutes.
Still, yeah, but they seem to go on and on forever, and with a real lack of like that wildness, that wild edge, and that untamed edge, and the electricity of Ross's playing, and his the chemistry that he brought.
Yep.
To playing with those other guys. While it's academic how much we can argue, like, because song credits can get a bit nebulous. We don't really know who contributed and who was responsible for whatever, yada yada. But it's no coincidence that there are no coincidences. And when Ross leaves, it's like, well, I don't like Manowar anymore.
Also, I mean, you've got these 6 albums come out in 6 years, and then there's not another one until 92, and then 96, and then Warriors of the World's like 2000 or something like that. There's like a decade of 3 albums after 6 and 6 years.
Yeah. Hail to England title track, Kill with Power, all songs that have like rad guitar solos, and I stress the quality of being untamed, because he was a true like wild player.
Untamable.
Untamed and untamable.
And we go into Sign of the Hammer. I've got the 12-inch single of All Men Play on 10 here, which folds out into a double stack. Sign of the Hammer, also 1984. I think it's another one of those albums where like the front half of it and the back half of it, well, particularly the opening 2 tracks, very rocky and a bit glammy even.
Yeah.
And then it gets into heavy metal later on.
Yep.
So yeah, All Men Play on 10, which is, I think All Men Play on 10 and Animal, the second song, they're both Eric Adams, giving voice to Joey's visions of the world.
Yep.
One being that, everything will be as loud as possible, and the other being, of course, Joey's sexual prowess.
Yeah. Yeah. 2 things that we need to know lots and lots about.
Yeah.
At all times, please. This is the volume thing. The volume thing is funny, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's like, we play so loud, man. And, like, what do you think of that? Cop that. Society.
Even that, like...
I'm not going to turn down to a reasonable volume.
Yeah.
No way.
No one tells a man how to play.
Yeah. You're threatening my masculinity by telling me to decrease the volume?
It's just the bit where he's like, I go back to my power rack and deck all my gear or something like that.
Yeah.
Like, I get what he means, but it's also like really clumsy.
Yeah.
He's obviously run out of ways of saying we play loudly.
Yeah. And also.
Once you've said we play on 10 and we're not going to turn down, you've kind of... You've explored the topic thoroughly at that point. I would have thought...
You've told the story. You've told the story.
I do Mountains on this album. I think this is an interesting one, because it could be the only point where Manowar almost steps into introspection and like a thoughtful lyric. It's actually, like a fantastic song, Mountains. But it's just weird to jump around from the many things they sing about and then happen upon, the strength is inside, whatever. Bit of almost like an epic ballad type, not a full ballad, but certainly very epic and
and Light and Shade in there is epic screams at the end, but it's definitely, for most of the start of it, it's like building slowly and ballad-esque. For the first half. It's a fantastic song, man. Love Mountains.
Thor, the Powerhead on there as well, which is another... I reckon that's a ripping song.
Yeah, totally.
Therian do a pretty good cover of that with Snowy Shore on vocals.
Right. Was not aware of that.
Yeah, well, there you go. Interesting chap, Snowy Shore.
Yeah.
Sign of the Hammer, pretty good one. The Oath, I like that. Thunderpick, I think, is the worst piece of recorded music ever by anyone.
Man, this is a roller coaster of emotion, I tell you what.
I feel.
It's tough, man. Being a fan is tough sometimes because it's like, man, I feel so strongly in such wildly different directions about this.
I like 3 out of every 8 songs. Do I like this band?
Yeah. God.
But Thunderpick is just another bass solo but it's quite a noisy, like...
The least pleasant sounding of them as well, if it seems impossible. But like it's, I know what you're saying. Guyana, Cult of the Damned.
I quite like that too.
Unbelievable song. One of my favorites, and probably that along with Mountains is my favorite on this album that came out like 4 months after.
It wasn't long.
It wasn't long.
I think some were probably, must have been some of the same tracking sessions or whatever.
I wonder if there was crossover there. I don't know anything about that. Maybe it might have been. It doesn't sound like it was recorded at the same time because I think the production, I can tell them apart, but you never know. It might be a different mix. You might have been recording the same sessions and then they've done a different mix. But yeah, Guyana is unbelievable. That's about the Jim Jones and the what was the cult called?
The Cult of the Damned.
I know the lyrics. Jonestown. Yeah, Jim Jones. Jonestown. Yeah.
Where'd they get that name from?
Yeah, clever. Man, that was so that's a retelling of that moment in American cultural history. Pretty crazy thing that happened there. And like you were saying about Mountains, like the way they sing this, they sing about this it's thoughtful. Like it's well done. It's a cool, it's a cool haunting retelling. You know, I think it's respectful and
yeah. It's weird how they can do it sometimes.
Yeah, isn't that weird?
Interesting cover as well. Does look a bit.
Yeah, what do you get when you look at that?
It does look a bit like a sci-fi fascist logo, flag.
Yeah, that's if there was like when Kirk and Spock go to a parallel world where you know the Nazi regime is whatever one of the Twilight Zone or the Star Trek episodes where the Nazis are in power, and that's what like their parallel the parallel universe would insignia would look like.
Yeah, the hammer with the wings, and it's the black hammer on the white and red background, and
fascist colours.
Yeah.
Classic fascist colours.
Classic fascist colours. Interesting choice. Then we go on to Fighting the World. Very different cover. What is this? What does the cover of Fighting the World remind? Do you know who did this?
I don't know who the illustrator was.
I've got some trivia for you.
But it's just Kiss Destroyer.
Yeah, same artist, Ken Kelly.
No kidding.
Yeah.
Well, there you go.
Yeah, he did Destroyer, Love Gun, Rainbow Rising.
Wow.
He did this, Fighting the World, which it's even the same colours as it's just the 4 of them.
Yeah. Wow, it's literally the same artist.
Yeah, it's like they just said, "Oh, can you just do?"
Yeah.
We like what you did in Destroy, and he would do all the artwork afterwards, like all the
oh wow,
Kings of Metal and onwards. But
there you go.
That's when the faceless man will arrive later. But just the them standing
on a mound pile of rocks. Don't see any skulls, but
Joey's looking taller than I imagine that he is.
License.
Yeah. So some of these songs, it just sounds a bit Kiss-ish to me as well.
Yeah.
And I think there's always been an element of the Kiss philosophy, that whole tell them no one wants you to listen to us type. They've always been fighting against someone that apparently doesn't want you to listen to them.
Yeah.
Despite their success.
Yes. Yeah.
Which is
they can't tell us what to do.
Yeah. All men play on 10.
Yeah.
That kind of thing, and I think it probably shows through the most on this album sonically. I don't know.
Yeah, I agree. Sonically and like the title track, that song is what you've just said in a nutshell. That's like it's like, hey man, we play this style of music. It's not popular on the radio, man. And tell you what, those suits down at the radio station, they don't want you to hear what we're doing, because it's crazy, man.
Yeah,
so, you kids,
the song that really does that is the next song, Blow Your Speakers.
And Blow Your Speakers, it does. Not literally.
I wrote a letter to the MTV. Like, come on, man. That one's maybe a bit, actually, Blow Your Speakers is a bit sort of Def Leppard-y even.
Yeah.
This is the first all-digital album ever, I believe.
Ever? Really?
Yeah, that's what they claim. And I think there's some stuff that happens on this album and the next in particular that they take advantage of the being able to get past some limitations that I think Scott Columbus might have had as a drummer.
Yeah.
Because like tracks like Black Wind, Fire and Steel suddenly have like blazing double kicks that go on for an eternity.
Yeah.
And I suspect that maybe they would have been...
Are you saying that there is some studio trickery responsible?
I think there could have been some studio trickery involved in the drums.
Yeah, okay. Yep, okay.
I don't know.
Yep.
You know,
this might be the right time to mention the myth about that they perpetuated about Scott Columbus having to have a custom designed drum kit because he would destroy.
Yeah, he hit so hard that he would destroy them.
Yeah, that mortal drums, of this earth were not, not capable of withstanding, the power.
So he had a metal drum kit which was completely acoustically dead, I think, and just everything was triggered.
Anyways, how do you feel about Fighting the Word overall, though? Do you like this album?
Like it would be probably one of the last ones I'd put on of the 6.
Yeah.
Black Wind, Fire and Steel, I think is one of the best songs.
Yeah.
Oh, definitely the best song on the album. It's a song I really like.
Yeah.
I feel like they probably were a little low on ideas by the time they got to this point. Carry On.
You were saying that 2 albums ago about...
I think that maybe like the musical ideas as well.
Okay, yeah.
Because like Violence and Bloodshed, they're just... it's just 2 riffs. Oh, yeah. So we got the first arena ballad that they would do with Carry On.
Yep.
That would become
another hallmark.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That would be everywhere on future albums. Not a bad one, to be honest, the Carry On.
Yeah, Carry On's great.
We got Defender, so the reprisal of Dark Avenger. Drums of Doom, a drum interlude, which you can happily skip.
Yes, but I'll take it over Thunderpick.
Yes,
so,
yes.
Yeah. Actually, I will say that because Drums of Doom is like it's not as stupid as Thunderpick. It's not just a drum solo. It's like an atmospheric kind of interlude.
Yeah.
So I don't mind it.
Holy War. It's got some real clumsy vocal phrasing in Holy War, and I think this is an example where they kind of thought it'd be cool to have a song called Holy War, and then sort of just put some other lyrics to it, because it's really just like a Brothers of Metal, stand together, whatever.
It's not it's no Dave Mustaine, diatribe on the horrors.
Yeah.
I
think it was just that sounds cool. Judas Priest do that quite a bit. I think, between the hammer and the anvil. I think it does sound cool.
It does sound cool. They also back that up with some killer imagery as well.
Yeah.
But we're not we're not here to compare and contrast Manowar and Judas Priest because that's not a
no. And they always have these paragraphs on the back of the albums.
Yeah.
He who refuses to take part in modern mediocrity will forever stand alone, an outcast. He is the bringer of change. Changes that instill fear in all those who go with the fashion's flow. Yeah, they've just done the first digital album, so... Embracing modernity. Anyway, I don't know. But it's always like sort of this weird biblical thing that they try and put into every album.
Yeah. I do want to say that I really, really like this album.
Yeah? You like Kiss a lot more than me, though.
So that's a good point. And I think that really speaks to why I do like it. I love Kiss and I like quite a bit of glam metal as well. And party rock, etc. And I have a good vibe when I put this album on. I think it's great fun. And I do think that, no kidding, that this is Eric Adams' finest performance. I think his voice is untouchable on this album.
In Black Wind, Fire and Steel at the end of that last verse, chorus or whatever, he's just off the chain. And then doing like he goes full like when Eric Adams sounds like he's a lunatic. That's when he's at his best.
Yeah, totally.
And he gets into that space.
Yeah, totally. And Yeah, I mean, at a normal day, Manowar sounds pretty unhinged anyway.
Yeah.
So for him sounding like a lunatic is...
Yep.
Yeah, that's upper level.
Yep.
Upper notch. Yeah. Yeah, but I think, and of all songs, like Blow Your Speakers, like his voice in that is just... Yeah, I know I wrote a letter to the MTV. Like, I take your point, and I don't disagree with you. But still, the fade out of that song where he says, rock and roll, except it's about 3 octaves higher than that. It's outrageous. His voice is, it's pretty amazing performance.
What about the, as far as silly lyrics go, the Manowar's made of steel, not clay, in Fighting the World? Any thoughts on that particular comparison between steel and clay? Other people aren't really other bands aren't made of clay.
Yeah.
It's a weird...
Stripes on a tiger don't wash away.
Yeah.
Probably just because it rhymes with wash away.
Reaching for a rhyme.
I do like when he says, fighting for the right to play heavy metal in my brain. So is he saying that I'm fighting the world because I want to be able to play heavy metal in my brain because I want to be able to think about this? Is this like a...
I think it's in his brain and he's got to get it out of his brain.
Okay.
Yeah, I hope.
Yeah. I was wondering if it might be like a Thought Police type 1984 situation.
Yeah, I mean, it would have, with the Son of the Hammer cover, it would have...
Oh, yeah. Maybe there's a lot too more Manowar than we're giving credit.
Yep.
You know?
It's either a lot more or a lot less.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think Fighting the World is a kind of fun song, as dumb as it is. I agree. His voice on Carry On's really quite nice.
Yeah, it is, man. That's a very rousing anthemic tune. And Defender, for my money, this is the definitive version of that song over the one on the EP that I know some people prefer, but I do really like the version of Defender on here because the spoken word is really nicely in place, and overall just the production just sounds unbelievable. So that's my call on that.
Then we get to the last album of this era, Kings of Metal. And I think the arc that Manowar have travelled, it reaches a point with Kings of Metal, and it continues on from there in a very specific direction.
Indeed.
You've got I don't know if the Manowar mascot guy has a name or not. I don't.
Jerry.
I think he's called the Faceless One or something like that. But
Faceless Warrior, maybe.
Yeah. And he's standing on a mound of flags, including the US is the most prominent flag, but there's a bunch of...
we got Germany, France, the Union Jack.
You can definitely tell where they probably... If you've got the top 10 countries where people buy their albums, I think that would be... And he's there with a crown and a ring.
Yep.
And there's some lightning and smoke and fire behind him.
Yep. Would you say that it's pretty cool that his sword seems to match the
battle hymn,
the bicep on the sword on the back of the first album, Battle Hymns.
Yep.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah. They've continued that. That sword comes through pretty much throughout all the albums, I think. But yeah.
I do prefer the front cover on Fighting the World just because it reminds me of Destroyer. But this one's all right.
Yep. Actually, this one and what's the next album?
Is Louder Than Hell the next one?
No.
Oh, Triumph of Steel.
Triumph of Steel. I think it's actually pretty hard to tell the difference between the two covers.
Yep.
They look like they're the same.
Yeah.
And then Louder Than Hell's just like a cropped version of them.
Yeah, it just folds out and it just looks the same.
Yeah. Anyway,
another thing, it's just like after this album, it's just like there's just no ideas left.
Yeah.
Like,
well, actually, the first Ross the Boss solo album in 08 or whatever it was.
Yep.
It had a big sticker on the CD saying the best Manowar album since Kings of Metal.
Excellent.
Yeah, so we got Wheels of Fire, Kings of Metal. Probably this is another album. They're all got weird pacing, if you ask me. But it starts pretty strongly, I think, with those two. Like Wheels of Fire being, so it kicks into it. Yeah, Kings of Metal's that they'll never do the We're Manowar song better than that, and they will try to do it many more times to come along. What's the weird lyric in that one? Wearing jeans and leather, not crackerjack clothes. Then we got the Heart of Steel, which is a pretty decent ballad.
Yeah, Heart of Steel's cool.
Sting of the Bumblebee, which is a bass effort. Because it's interesting that he still feels the need to prove that he is the fastest bass player in the world. I thought he did that. 6 albums earlier.
Yeah,
reminding everyone.
Yeah.
And the Crown and the Ring, if I can say that. That's another ballad, and I don't really understand. Like after a pretty fast and raucous start to the album, then they sort of just lose all the momentum with 2 ballads and a bass solo.
Yeah, it just falls off the cliff, man. And
the Crown and the Ring is just some of the clunkiest. I almost wouldn't be surprised if it was sung completely differently, and then they've just chopped the words and pasted them together, because some of the bits, some of the delivery just sounds very strange. Like he's like, bowstring and steel will prevail. It's just like really stilted.
Yeah.
And he's not that kind of singer.
No. Who knows? Wouldn't put it past them.
It's another all digital album, so they would have had, would have been easier to do than splicing tape. The vinyl version doesn't have it, but Kingdom Come is after that.
Yeah.
Which sounds like a Queen song.
Yep. In title and in nature as well. Do you?
Sonically, very. All the harmony on the vocals and whatever's happening there, and
I don't mind it. It reminds me of the stuff on Pioneering the World, the anthemic stuff. I think Kingdom Come's all right.
It's not. It just sounds strange when it's the only song on the album like that. If you know what I mean.
For sure.
Like, why do you put all this production value into one song, but it's not a hallmark of your sound?
Yeah.
Pleasure Slave is not on the vinyl, but it is on the. I think it was in the US version, but not the international versions.
Yep. Garbage. Horrible song.
Yeah. It's
lyrically unacceptable. Like fucking stupid.
Yeah.
I'm not pulling any punches.
No. Unnecessary.
People can know exactly how I feel. It's just unnecessary and stupid. Just like
the gratuitous moaning and it's like, come on.
Yeah.
Man. Another song about how everyone would like to
sexual
have sex
prowess,
with Joey.
I'm the king, you're my It's just horrible.
Then Hail and Kill, one of the best Manowar songs.
One of the best Manowar songs.
And that, talking about guitar solos, that one does a lot of things.
Yeah.
Because it is a very long solo as well.
Yeah.
It goes to a lot of different places and uses a lot of different types of technique, I suppose.
One of the few co-writes Ross the Boss has on this album. So that's that's cool.
The Warrior's Prayer, the second worst bit of recorded.
Yeah. So boring. My God. It goes for 4.5 minutes, man.
Yeah.
Far out. Just like, I can't imagine the disappointment when you would have bought this in 1988 as the brand new Manowar album, and you put this on, and you're already a bit used to some filler, some atmospheric tracks and some interludes and stuff. But then you get like,
Grandfather, tell me a story.
Oh my God. Just far out.
It's not immediately clear what accent they're using.
Yeah.
And even though the story doesn't make sense. It's like the armies of the world have gathered, and then each of the 4 arrive from a different direction as the 4 winds, and then they've got an army of immortals and soldiers of death or something like that, and then there's a big battle, and then all the armies of the world hail the kings of metal. But I thought the armies. It just sounded like the battle occurred, and surely the armies of the world would have been destroyed by the. Anyway,
I'm at a loss. I'm at a loss. What?
I listened to it yesterday, and I was angry about it.
Yeah. The anger remains.
Yeah,
you never get over it. Never get over it.
I normally would just skip these types of things, but my journalistic integrity meant I had to listen to. Well, I even listened to all the Thunder Picks. So,
Well, I respect your attention to that and your integrity, indeed.
Yeah. Which is why the venom is so close to the surface. But a really disappointing way to lead into the final song, Blood of the Kings.
Blood of the Kings, one of the greats. This is it's such a great song and a fitting conclusion. worthy conclusion. I'm glad it ended on this and not the Warrior's Prayer.
Yeah.
Because this is a fitting conclusion to the Ross the Boss era of Manowar, and
it's a real exercise in excess.
Absolutely.
Blood of the Kings.
Yeah. It's like a 3-minute stadium ending.
Yeah. Well,
all 3 different endings, isn't it? It's kind of like it kind of ends and
they end in every possible way you can end a song.
Yeah. It's mostly an ending, actually. Now that I think about it.
I think it is about halfway through that they start ending the song.
3 minutes of song, 3 minutes of choose your own adventure type endings.
But even the song, it is just another one of those ones where they list everything that they've list albums and songs that they've made before in countries they like to go to.
Yeah. But yet somehow it totally works.
Yeah.
And I'm totally on board with it.
Yeah.
Like the rhythm, it's such a stomper, and it's just 4 kings of metal, 4 metal kings. Outrageous.
Yep. But yeah, then the way that it just sort of fades out on a guitar riff as well, it's done all the big blah blah blah, goes on forever, and then just a and it just pans left and right and slowly fades out.
Yeah.
it's there is no limit.
No, there's no limit, no ceiling
to what you can do on a Manowar song.
Yeah, on a full digital recording.
Ross the Boss's guitar sounds the best on this album. I think his guitar tone is excellent.
Yeah,
I guess it's probably the newer technology and being able to isolate his guitar and not if they're just trying to make everything as loud as possible. And,
definitely. Yeah, I totally agree. Yeah,
being able to multi-track and that kind of thing with the guitar a bit more than probably on the earlier albums.
Yeah, for sure. Because I think the first 3 or 4 albums recorded under a budget that they were, just how much amps and gain they would have had going to get those takes, and they'd be live takes in the rooms as well. And like you say, probably not isolated anywhere near as well as you could do as recording technology improved in the late 80s. But yeah, I totally agree, and it comes through like super clean, but still with a lot of bite.
Yeah,
a lot of bite. Blood of the Kings was performed. It was the opening song, actually. When
wild opener.
I'm so grateful we saw those shows, and that Ross made it to Australia a few times in the last decade. Opening with Blood of the Kings and
closing with Battle Hymn. We had Thor in there.
I think Battle Hymn was at the end of the first set, and then the encore was something and Hail and Kill.
Oh sorry. Because Stu Marshall came up for Hail and Kill.
Yes, nice one. Yeah, well played.
Because they play together in Death Dealer.
Yes. Yep. Another one of Ross's many projects and many efforts.
Mm.
Yeah, that was so cool seeing Blood of the Kings as the opener. That was wild. Didn't do 5 minutes of ending, but probably a good choice because it was the start of the show.
Yeah,
so
it's a bit early in the night for that.
Yeah.
A body of work which includes some of my favourite songs.
Yeah,
and I know a lot of songs, not to brag, but
not to brag.
But a lot of them are in here.
I mean, it's more of a problem than a brag. It's compulsion, really. But we're dealing with that.
Yeah, it's for the therapist and not for this.
Yeah, exactly right. Yeah, there's lots of songs and lots of the favourites are among these albums we're looking at, and that's the thing. I said this before, but we take the piss where appropriate, but we're also damn serious about the fact that the Manowar albums are it's some of the best heavy metal ever created. Some of these songs are just outrageous, and
I don't think they would hit as well if Manowar wasn't such a ridiculous entity.
Yep.
If they were like I don't know, Saxon or something, you would.
Yeah, absolutely, man. The attitude is part of is part of it. It's like the go hard or go home philosophy, and it's just absolutely everything's to the extreme. And the confidence level, the conviction,
Yeah, So talk about being on 10.
Yeah.
Confidence 10 out of 10.
Yeah. I do want to say a quick thing about Ross the Boss is that a few of our mutual acquaintances knew him personally, and from all accounts, a legend of a guy. Yeah. And so just a personal condolences to the folks that we knew who did know him personally, because he's also a real human guy, He's also like, I look at him on these album covers in the 80s, and it's like he's a character, a comic book character. But he was a real dude, and so condolences to those who knew him. That's
Absolutely. All right. Well, we'll be back soon, but in the meantime, listen to some Manowar, listen to some Ross the Boss solo, or Death Dealer, or The Dictators, or Shaken Street. I don't know if they have music available to listen to. The band he played with, Black Sabbath.
Yeah.
That started it all. But yeah, celebrate Ross the Boss.
Yeah. Rest in peace, Ross. We'll miss you always. Rock on. Ride to Valhalla.